Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to City Skylines and the city of Odyssey. In our last episode, we spent some time to putting in some new districts in our town as we're attempting to get our population up. And we put in this lovely little district right here where we're using a theme that is supposed to be emulating kind of a Midwest North American suburban environment. As you can see, people are starting to move in. And some of the plots are still under construction. That's what happens when you have some of the lower tier buildings. But as we see over here, just conveniently enough, it was like I almost planned that, which I didn't. As these construction plots begin to level up and get into the higher ranges, they start turning into these beautiful little suburban homes with a front yard and a backyard and the bushes and all that wonderful stuff. This turned out really nice. I'm really happy with what we've got here. We also included some public transportation in our last update. We put in these tram lines that are servicing the people in our new district. They're getting used here and there, but I think they just look really nice and add a nice element to the city. Lots of walking paths available so that people can get around to where they want to go here and there. And then in the lower part of the city, the old town as we could call it, even though the city's not that old, we also installed some bus lines. As you can see here, we've got our citizens making use of our buses, moving around the town, getting here and there. So today what I've got in mind is I'm noticing that we still have a huge demand for residential. And actually, I've got the icons turned off right now to do my introduction, but if I turn back on the notification icons, you will see that around our city we have icons saying that there are not enough workers. That means the population needs to go up. There is demand for residential. And if you look over here in our industry area, we will also take note that we just don't have that many workers here in our area. And so I want to get some more workers in our forestry area so we can get that leveled up and unlock more things to do there as well. So here is what I am thinking. We have this area over here by the river that I think is a very lovely area, and it could look really nice if we were to do some work on improving the slope. The person who put this map together created these huge cliffs for the river, and I think what they maybe were intending was that you could put hydroelectric power in here, but I think that's probably going to be farther up the way. I don't see any reason to put that so close to the city, but I think this would look really nice to make a riverside residential and shopping area. And one thing that we haven't done yet for our city is we haven't used any of the unique buildings. And I was going through my unique building list, things that I have unlocked or things that I have that are available as assets that I've picked up. And one of the things that I have is a department store here. And I thought it would be really neat if we could put in a residential area that also has maybe up against the river right in here, this department store, surrounded by some commercial. So I'm thinking like this area here would be like a little commercial district. I am aware that one of my rail connections is here, and so at some point we're going to have to bring that in to start serving our industry and possibly even get some passenger rail going. But for now, I'm not doing rail today. I just want to get my population up so that I can start having a little more freedom to do a few more things in the city, because right now we're only making about $2,000 a week. And I need to get the residential up to get those taxes in, to get a little bit more money so we can start putting stuff in that costs. The first thing that we are going to have to do, though, before we put in that residential area is I do not like at all the way these on-ramps and off-ramps are put together. This whole spaghetti of roads and stuff, it might look really cool, and perhaps in the real world it might be an effective way to get people on and off the highway, but in City Skylines, this is just going to turn into a disaster later because of the way the game handles traffic. But the real thing that I want to fix is I don't understand why there's an extra off-ramp that they've installed over here. You've got one up here, you've got one over here. You don't need this here as far as I can tell. This highway isn't going anywhere. We can put in more highway access later if we need to. And like I showed you in the last video, we have this little roller coaster of a ramp that causes the cars to just go whee and they go flying off. So I'm gonna fix up these little highway interchanges. I'm gonna fix the on-ramps and off-ramps, and then we'll come back and we can talk about what the residential / commercial area is going to look like. So let me fix these and I'll be right back. With this highway, I could come in here and I could manually draw these highways to connect them together at the same height. But I've recently started using a new mod that I thought I would give a little try to. I've been using the network multi-tool in the past, and they've added a lot of different things that you can do with this mod. And one of the tools that they've added into the mod, they have the parallel, create parallel mode, but they also have this thing here called the create a curve mode. And I think I'm just going to try using that here and see if I can figure out how this mod works and create some nice highways. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my picker mod to just select the highway and make sure that I have the one that I want selected. And I'm going to grab the create curve mode up here in the network multi-tool. I'm going to click on the first, come on, here we go. I'm gonna click on this first node. I'm gonna click on the second node, and it's telling me that it is the wrong shape, but that's because I selected the segments. I need to actually select the nodes to tell it where this curve is going to go. And that is the curve, and I believe that's all I have to do. And I hit enter, and I have a road, and I forgot to change it to the overpass road because I'm an idiot. So I'm going to do that really quick. There we go. And now let's try fixing up this other one. So we go up here, we click on this thing, we go here, and we click on that, and voila, we have curves. Maybe there's a better way to do this, maybe there's an easier way to do this, I don't know, but that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish up the rest of these roadways and I will get back to you guys. Okay, so we have the highways all put back together. I simplified the off-ramps into just a basic on-off configuration, made sure that we have 2 lanes coming off so they can go left or they can go right as the city expands. We only need 1 lane coming off, of course. I went ahead and did the same thing over here, and we have 2 lanes, 1 lane off coming into 2 lanes so they can turn right and they can turn left. They have their dedicated lanes. And I think this is going to just work a lot better and be a lot smoother. We still have some really weird interchanges up ahead, but this should work just fine. And now we should be able to bring this road around, connect it over here to make a little bit of a loop, and we should be able to start putting in our new residential and commercial area. I really like the department store, and so I think that is going to be the centerpiece of a commercial area, and it's going to fit right here into this little kind of wedge of land. And then everywhere else around is going to be residential because that's what we have the most demand for. Before I can do that though, I want to see if there's something I can do to kind of smooth out this. I mean, look, I don't know why there's this huge hole in the ground right here, and perhaps someone could explain that to me someday, but for now, I want to see if there's something that we can do to kind of ease up a little bit on this side of the on the riverbank, just to make it a little bit more pleasant. I do want to get rid of this little hole in the ground so the river actually runs like it's supposed to. I would just use the level terrain here and just that'll work. Do I need to buy? Are they gonna be? Oh, I can do this outside of my square. That's nice to know. Let's do this. Let's just grab that part of the river. Let's just bring all of this up so that it all matches well enough. Smoothed out a little bit so it looks just a little bit more natural. So I think I'm going to play around with some of my terraining tools and see what I can do to make this look a little more pleasant and realistic. Let me mess with that, and I will come back and show you what I came up with. All right, so after some finagling around with the landscaping tools, this is what I have come up with. And I'm gonna change my plan just a little bit, because one of the things that they came out with a while back was downloadable content, some expansion pack stuff that had some really neat seawalls included in the pack. And I'm thinking about trying to use some of these walls here along the river to perhaps create an interesting walkway, seawall, riverfront area to incorporate into my design. And I like these tiered seawalls with the stairs because it gives me a walking path on top, and then people can also go down by the river to walk around. So I want to see, I've never really used these before much in a city. So I want to see if I can figure out a way to get this to work. So we're just going to build these outside city limits. So I got to start over here. I might just have to buy squares eventually, but we'll come back and deal with that another time. So I'm thinking, like, I don't know, something like this, kind of build up the riverfront and give our pedestrians a way to enjoy our little whirlpool vortex of death thing there. I don't know what's going on with that. Take a look at that later. But what do I think of this? Do I like how this is looking? I think so. Maybe a little bit of herpty-derpty here to get that to kind of disappear so we don't have the grass poking out. Do I like the key wall thing that I'm building here? I think I do, and I think it's going to look better once we get the rest of these squares bought up and we kind of increase that. But I think that's going to look all right. Yeah, and it'll give our pedestrians a place to walk down here. It'll give them a place to walk up front. And looking out over the river, I think that could be very nice. So now we have to figure out where we're going to put our department store and where we're going to put all of the rest of the things. So I'm going to kind of just freeform the road in here a bit. I don't want to put the main artery road. I don't want to put the main artery road going all the way over to the river. I'd like to take some smaller residential, or not residential, I'd like to take some smaller roads in that direction. So let me see if I can kind of maybe feed this along here a little ways and just bring this around the outside area. We will put this railroad back in later at another time when I'm ready to do more railroad work, but for now we are just going to continue on trying to curve this road. And can I bring this out and get away with doing something like that. How does that look? Looks a little weird, but we can fix it. We'll just get our trusty move it mod out here and click on that node and we wiggle things around a little bit. Get our trusty move it mod out here and do some wiggling and some moving and some twisting and some turning. And I'm making things worse, aren't I? Yes, I think I am. Oh, I see, because it goes way up there. That is unfortunate. Maybe I can use the sloping tool here. So in the in Network Multi-Tool, there is a tool here that's designed for slope control, and you just click on all the different nodes that you want to use, and you bring them all in. I think I'm just going to go all the way down to where it starts to flatten out again. And let's see what it does. I hit enter and it should try to flatten. Oh, dear. Okay. Maybe I went a little too crazy on that. I'll come back and fix the little raging cliff behind there later, but that is going to make it easier to actually put the residential and commercial areas in. So this is also maybe not the best. I don't know. It's kind of it could work. So what we could do is we could bring a road down in there. Just a little old, nice 2-lane road. Bring it out of here. What if I anarchy it in for now and I can come back in and fix it? Cheating with anarchy. Gotta love it. All right, so let's... We'll fix this in a bit. All right, so let's bring this in. Like that. We'll just have this up against this cliff face. Using anarchy because we can. Bring it up here. Pop it right back in like that. Yeah, it's a bit of a steep drop for sure. So let's grab our little sloping tool. We're just playing with new tools here. I don't know how this is going to work. Let's try that. We'll hit enter. Didn't really do what I wanted it to do. Nope. Yeah, you're going to be getting off of the... You're going to get out of this intersection. It's like, okay, kids, put your hands in the air. It's time to go down to the river. Wah! We're all just going to die. Okay, that didn't work. So maybe we'll have to do some manual adjusting here with the good old move it mod. Okay, so, you know, it'll be fun in the winter. The kids can sled. Let's get the rest of the roads put in. Figure out where we want to put this department store. I think the department store is going to go right here. So, how big is the department store? It's about that big. Let's get some roads put in and see what we can do with that. I think we're just going to use the grass. I think we're just going to grab off of this intersection. We're just going to throw in... What kind of a slope are we looking at here? Well, can we maybe make that a little less spectacularly steep? I know this is not the best way to go about this, but it's what we're going to do. All right, let's try that again. Let's put this in here. We'll get our little, I want to put the, I just want the department store to overlook the river. The department store is going to go right here, and it's going to have its own road that we're going to be using. We're going to bring this road up using the Move It mod. There we go. And let's chuck in our department store right there. Look at that. It's going to work. Let's drop that in. And what is that going to look like? Kind of okay, I think. Let's just get everything else hooked up road-wise and start putting in the rest of the zone, I think. All right, so we got some things put in here. One of the things that you'll actually see in the country where I live are these massive retaining walls that they put up next to roads whenever they have to build near a somewhat vertical face. The country where I live is quite mountainous, and a lot of the roads that they build have to cut through the side of cliffs. And so you'll often find these retaining walls installed to protect people from falling rocks, keep erosion from occurring, and that sort of thing. I went ahead and put in some retaining walls that I downloaded off of the Steam Workshop. They're not exactly like you would see it back home, but I couldn't find precisely what I was looking for, but I think they look pretty nice. These just get put in very similar to the waterquays and the waterfront type things that you put in. You slap these down, and I use the Move It mod to kind of finagle them around just to make sure that they fit in well, and I think that just makes this road that comes down a little bit more realistic because you actually have some protection against the erosion of the area up above. And I also went ahead and put one in over here along this road where it was pushing back and just to retain all that area. So it kind of works similar to the waterfront here. So one of the things that we're going to have to do though for this department store that we've installed is we need to get some parking. Nobody's going to go to a department store if there's nowhere to park and they don't have anywhere to go. And I want to try out something new. I've never used this before. We have downloaded a bunch of what's called parking lot roads. And the way these work, I think, is you just draw them like a regular road would be drawn. And then you can come in with these decals and these markings, and you can drop in, using Anarchy, these parking spaces. Now, I don't know if this actually works as a parking lot in the game, if the cars will actually use it. The mod designer says it will, and I'd be willing to give it a try. But yeah, I think that looks all right. And it comes with a lot of different sizes. So we've got a really wide parking, a really wide medium one, and a small one. And then it has these little service roads, which I can use to connect the parking lots together. We can even put in, parking spaces for handicapped. We can put in parking spaces for electric vehicles. I also have some parking garages that I could use, but I've never tried this before. And I think this just looks like it could be a lot of fun to use. So let's see what we can do. What I'm thinking is this area right here would be perfect for some parking. So we are going to take out these trees. I have no idea what I'm doing, so let me play around with this a little bit and see if I can sort out what I want to do, and I will get back with you guys in just a second. Okay, so after much finagling and fighting with this mod, this is what I have come up with. This mod is a little bit harder than I thought it was to use, but we made some progress, and I think the parking lot has turned out okay. I just need to go around and detail it a little bit, add some bushes, some trees, that kind of stuff to make it a little bit more interesting. But that should work out just fine. So people can come and park for our lovely department store. They can walk across here. They can go in and have a great time. The only thing that's left to do now is to put in the rest of the area here so that we can have the residential. We can put a little bit of commercial in. I think one of the things that we're going to be doing is actually putting in a district down here near the river, where I believe I'm going to put some commercial. And the kind of commercial that I'm going to be putting in is going to be tourism, or do I want to do, can I get leisure yet? I cannot get leisure until we get to 7,000. So it's going to be tourism. And we are going to set this up down here as a tourism specific area, so that here along the riverfront, people will come down and enjoy restaurants and whatever else they need in order to have a good time. So let me go ahead and drop that in. Let's go ahead and convert that to tourism. Bam, it is now tourism. Let's turn these on so we can actually see what we're doing. Now, let's get the rest of the roads put in. Let's get all the water put in. Let's get the power put in. And let's get the rest of this area all set up. Alright, so we have our area all roaded in. We've got all the water put in, we've got all the services put in, and we've let it run for a little while, and it is starting to take on a very fine look. I really like the high rises overlooking the river here in our tourist district that has been built up right by this department store. I like how it overlooks everything there, so people can come in here and hit the hotels and just enjoy their time. This down here is slowly getting built in, and I'm sure it'll fill in as the need arises. But you can see like it's a lovely little sunbathing spot here overlooking the whirlpool of death that I still haven't figured out how to get rid of. But yeah, maybe there's going to be a sea monster or something that comes out of there and people can enjoy watching the destruction from afar. But I went ahead and set this up as a district here, and the district that I chose is actually using the self-sufficient buildings. I thought it would be kind of an interesting look to add to our city, and it creates these buildings that have, you know, the solar panels and the nice eco design, and everything is little gardens on the roof and things. And I think it's just kind of a neat little style that's going to fit in really well with this whole riverfront area that we've just developed. Nobody seems to be using, oh wait, we have one guy using the parking lot. Look at that. So we have our first person going to the department store to go shopping. The parking lot and all the fighting that we did get that to work was a success. I went ahead and detailed it out a little bit. Did the old use some rocks and some bushes and trees to make it a little bit softer routine. And I think that I'm pretty happy with how this turns out. To be honest, I really like this whole design with the retaining walls put in, with the high rises standing up over the river, with the quays that we've set in to kind of separate the water off, and this little road that drops down. I really like the residential area. While I was putting this in, we did hit our next milestone, meaning that I was able to access the office zoning setup. So I went ahead and put in some office zoning in order, and also some commercial in order to get the noise away from the residential area, so I've dropped those in. We don't really have a demand for it yet, but eventually those are going to fill in with some buildings that will stop the noise from bothering our residential too much. I'm going to go into here and put our mass transit into this area so that people can take buses and come down here. So let me do that and I'll come back and we'll take one final look at everything. All right, so we got our new bus lines put in. I decided to have them begin over here so that they have connections to this northern bus line and also not too far walking distance from the tram line. And they just come through here, they swing through the town, they stop in here, they go over in front of the department store where they stop at the department store, swing on down this road, pull up into this little residential, you gotta stop here in the residential area, cut underneath the highway, and go through this area here just to give people more access to the tram lines and things if they need to switch and make connections, and then it swings back up here and just completes the loop. Well, I can say that I'm really happy and actually quite proud of what I've accomplished this time around. I love the department store. I love the tourist area with the high rises. The parking lot mod that I'd never used before turned out all right, and I think it looks like a good addition to the city. All in all, this expansion worked really well, and I'm super happy with it. I hope you're happy with it too. Thank you so much for coming along with me as we've added on to the city of Odyssey. I hope you stick around in the future for more videos as they come, because this city is going to continue growing and we're going to be doing even more. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If you like what you've seen, please hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions on what we could be doing and what you would like to see next in the city. If I made any mistakes, let me know. I'm not perfect. I know I can do things wrong at times, and I'd love for you guys with your eagle eyes to point those out for me so we can get them fixed. But for now, that's all we have time for today, and I will see you guys another time. So catch you later.